Okay, so today we are going to focus on the fact that accountability always comes first. Okay, if you don't see any of your reality or your circumstance as your fault, it's going to be difficult, I would say, to remedy whatever you think you have to fix. Even though we don't have to fix anything, we just have to be in the right timeline, right? There's no fixing. There's no timeline. There is no only the present exists, so there's no past, there's no future that matters, because you could switch in and out of all of them. Because if you think about it, memory is you going into the past, right? And you could easily remember something differently, and it will be 100% real for you. So the past is also kind of irrelevant for whatever you're trying to do in the present, but that's a different video. But yeah, accountability is number one. You cannot be a victim. You cannot even unknowingly be a victim. Okay, so the ego will always try to protect you. The ego will try to defer blame at all times. Okay, I'll be like, oh no, you were triggered and acted a certain way because Shelly was being kind of a bitch. Nah, look, your triggers expose yourself to yourself better than anything could ever do. You're able to see your blind spots. You're able to see what triggers you, and then you're able to explore why possibly that triggers you. But again, this takes accountability, because if you just assume that it's as it should be, and then these triggers you just avoid because, well, they're negative or whatever, right? Then there's going to be stuff that you're missing. There's stuff in your blind spot that you're not aware of. And when you're not aware of things, it's very difficult to make a decision, to make a full decision, right? Because if you think about it medically, right, informed consent is being able to make a decision based on having all the information. Informed consent, you're giving consent based on the full information. But in reality, like in your universe and my universe and all this stuff, we decide how we want our reality to be, and our reality shapes accordingly. Now the problem is that many times we make that decision, we're not aware that we're making that decision, right? It is behaviors that we've had. It's thought processes that are ingrained in us. It's just mentalities that we carry with us that maybe we got when we were younger. Who knows? Who knows where we got it from? It doesn't matter. You just have to decide to change it, and you can never quit. So if you make a decision to change something, again, we don't technically, it's not changing anything. You're just stepping into the identity that doesn't have to deal with that, the identity that doesn't identify with those emotions, the identity that is not triggered by said things. And it's instant. It's as instant as we want to be. It is as hard or as easy as we decide it to be. It is, again, this world shapes to our perspective. So whatever your perspective is, it will give you confirmation bias based on whatever you think the world is. So if you're super negative, which like most people in this world are super negative, and it's funny because a lot of people say they're not negative, they're positive, but then I don't know if anyone has heard this phrase. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm just realistic." Bruh, come on. Like, you're negative. Your ego doesn't let you say you're negative because maybe you've painted this positive image in your head of you being a positive thinker. When in reality, you're not positive and you think very negatively. But because the ego is keeping you in your blind spot, what does that mean? That means you cannot make a change to be the person that you desire to be, or the identity that you desire. And then by being unable to shift identities, you will not be able to, it'd be more difficult for you to keep or create your heaven on earth, right? Because heaven has many mansions, right? So there's anything that you want can be yours. Any desire that you have can be yours. It is not, there's this you know, they say abundance is doesn't exist. But in reality, abundance is everywhere, because everyone's universe is a reflection of themselves, which means that what they interact with and what they see outside of them is their internal. And everyone is experiencing their own universe. Even so, like that, you could see in a relationship, right? In a relationship, there's two relationships going at the same time. One from each party. And possibly, depending on who they're interacting with too, it's possible that each other person that they interact with will have a different perspective from the relationship, right? That they'll see it differently. But there's at least two people. Two different relationships happening at the same time, based on the perception of the person, right? So, and there can be times that's very easy to fall into this trap of blaming people. Because I mean, even the identity I switched from was I was always trying to, like, at the beginning, I was trying to put the blame on the lack of emotional intelligence that I perceive my partner to have, and then the ego issue that I perceive that my partner would have. But again, they're reflecting you, so my dumbass manifested that myself. And the fact that I wasn't seen as worthy, and the fact that nothing I do would be enough, nothing I do could be enough. But again, it's a reflection of my own internal thoughts manifested into my 3D reality that were reflected back at me. So there's no reason to have malice or any ill feelings towards that relationship, because, you know, looking back on it, like, everything is perfect, because otherwise I'd be stuck in many patterns still, right? I wouldn't be on this journey of just being able to love myself the way I love, the way I perceive to love. I perceived my identity to love her, which is unconditionally, right? There's nothing that would stop that love, and like, even now, because I made the decision to, but it's the decision was not made from people pleasing. It was made from me just making the decision. So it's different. It's not always what you do, it's who's doing it. So it's the identity that's taking action that will determine your external world. Because oftentimes things that affect your reality is things that you identify with, right? Like, by trade, I'm a lab tech, so I'm in contact with nurses, doctors, anyone that works in a hospital. So what does that mean? I don't know if anyone's seen this, but there's some people in the field that they're very germophobic, right? They're very germophobic, and they freak out about illnesses, and they freak out about exposures. And because of this, it's very interesting, because I see it all the time. But the people that get sick and the people that feel worse, right, are the people that perceive that whole, the illness and all that stuff a lot more seriously than everyone else. I know I'm not gonna get sick. I know my body's gonna be fine. My body's, it's perfect. I'm loved. I'm healthy. There's nothing in this world that will convince me, that will make me go against myself. Okay? Because once you go against yourself, that's when you start manifesting negatively for yourself. But that's besides the point. And again, this comes down to taking accountability on your own circumstances and your own existence and your own reality. Because if you don't take accountability, you will continue to attribute everything that's going on around you to everyone else. And again, you are giving away your power, because you don't see yourself as the all-powerful. You don't see yourself as the divine creator being. You don't see yourself as divine at all. Okay, maybe you think you're a meat sack. Maybe you think there's no reason to do this. Maybe you think there's no meaning of life. Maybe you think, maybe you have a certain thought process about this, our whole existence. And again, it's your prerogative to have whatever thought process you have or your view on it. My thing is just, if that's not your intention, sit in your power, take accountability for yourself. Okay. Tell the ego to shut the fuck up. Okay. And take accountability, and then decide what you want. Decide what your reality is going to be, and then tell the 3D or tell the universe that. And make sure to keep doing it regardless of what the 3D shows you, because the 3D will continue to show you your old identity until you are being who you aim to be, right? Or you're acting from that divine creator, that I am identity, that the one that is all things, the one that is love, the one that is perfection, the one that no one is better than, the one that no one else compares to, because you are number one in your universe at all times. Okay? So, yeah, take accountability. Don't be a victim. It's not worth it. You'll just make it harder for yourself, make it worse for those around you, because they're just reflect that you're a victim to yourself. You will find problems where there are no problems, and you will be unable to see the good in anything. You will find the negative in everything you can. And subconsciously, there's a possibility that, hey, you might not even know you're negative, which is worse. But, just you got to sit down and observe what your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, with no external input. So you can't be watching Netflix. Don't be listening to music. I say ideally if you could do it for a day. Ideally I'd do it for 3 to 5 days. If you really want to be serious about this shit. If you can only do it for 1 day, do it for 1 day. No external input. Listen to yourself. Okay? I'm not saying lock yourself up. You have to live life, right? And everyone is a reflection of you. So in that aspect, if you interact with others, they're reflecting yourself back, right? So that's important information as well. But no YouTube videos, no music, no podcasts, no trying to learn shit. Just sit in your thoughts, sit in your behaviors, see how you view life. See what your internal monologue is during the day that we aren't usually paying attention, because oftentimes we're not present with what's going on. And once you do that and you observe yourself and you know that identity, that version of you that will fight you when you try to make a change, decide what kind of person, what kind of identity you want to be, and step into that identity, because that shift is instantaneous. So step into that identity and understand and know, stay in your knowing that the old identity will possibly come up over and over again to try to stop you from making that change. Because that old identity does not want to die. That old identity does not want to be buried. That old identity wants to live just like you want to live. So, yeah, be aware of the old you so that you could make change and be reborn, okay? The resurrection, essentially. So, have a perfect day. You are amazing. You're perfect. You are love. You're everything that you ever want. So, have a perfect day. And if you don't think it's perfect, call it perfect anyways. So, have fun, everyone. All love. Deuces.